Hello and welcome to Crimson Moon. Well, at the moment, I'm not sure where the story is going, so let's continue with a read through of Decoration Disorder and Disconnection. 3 years after being forced into a psychiatrical hospital, cured with a 2.5 years long psychiatric course, Hisaori Shinja, at the age of 18, was put into accounting of the defense force, but recognized but was recognized as socially rehabilitated. Okay, if I remember, Hisaori Shinja already died, and the person we see on the clinic is his sister imitating him or something like that. The relatives agreed to accept Hisaori Shinja. No, note, coincidentally, his older sister, Hisaori Makina, was discharged from the Origa clinic around the same time. No relatives agreed to shelter her, so she made home at the municipal welfare organization of Shikura town. Hisaori Shinja was officially recognized as a role model patient, both by doctors in charge and by inspectors in charge, his mental and physical condition at its best, and the doctor that knew of his condition at the time of the events took at the time the events took place was applauding to his 3 years effort on the hospital. Nevertheless, even the cured Hisaori Shinja's statements about the case remained vague. That time his position was that Hisaori Makina was the criminal and he was the victim, but after a couple of days after Hisaori Makina was found as an A syndrome carrier, he recognized his mistake and here's the current version. He didn't talk about his sister, Hisaori Makina, after that. 2 years, but a 2 years long court examination announced the Hisaori family case an accident. Half a year after discharge from the health center, Hisaori Shinja was found dead in a room in Nosu industrial area. Cause of death, blood loss from a lacerated neck wound. 3 years passed from the time he lost his parents and pushed his sister from the third floor's balcony. What he was thinking and what he was feeling, no one can know anymore, except the one whom he, half a day earlier, in an underground room, told his story to. I'll tell you about my sister. Will you listen? Not even once I thought of my sister as a human. Now I have a reason, but while I was a child, it was strange, confusing. Even though my sister was so perfect, so ideal, why was she so disgusting to me? Saying that question with a peaceful look, he started his story. My sister wraps up and I pull out. These are in kanji. These are our names in kanjis. And my mother was saying that my name Shinja was born from my sister. Makina and Shinja, my parents wished we'd become a harmonic brother and sister. I wish so too, but my sister wasn't the type who could understand that human feeling. Seed of talent ripens only if the environment grows it properly. If you give modern weapons to barbarians, things will only get worse, just as our peaceful family didn't need a god. Isauri Makina was a heavenly punishment for our house. Hey Shinja, your sister wants to be alone sometimes, right? Tell us that, tell that to mom and dad while it's still possible to fix anything. Every time we went to play outside, my mother secretly whispered that to my ear. Maybe because she was reminding me of that so much, I have that in my primary memories now. As I only just entered conscious age, I always just tilted my head and didn't understand what she meant at all. And at the same time, I loved my sister and I was envious that everyone was so nice to her everywhere. I remember my frustration at mother. My sister was so loved, everyone in the area was greeting her. Why does she look at my sister with that alienated look? Yeah, Shinja-kun, you are Makina's brother. The situation started to change when I started going to school. I was in the second grade and my homeroom teacher picked me out only because I was Makina's brother. He was her homeroom teacher. Last year, Makina was very, a very diligent student years ago and didn't have much interest in studying. Well, you just have to memorize that. Just a game. Why will I be stubborn? Kid didn't have anything of a key. Kid didn't have anything like that of like a kid, and a teacher didn't have anything of an adult. She thought of games and studies as something silly. So teachers, so the teacher's answer: memorize it all, or I won't let you in class. Next couple of days, Makina didn't leave her room. We live in a, we lived in the same room with. I lived in the same room with my sister before middle school, so I know what was happening day and night as she was on the two-story bed, memorizing, just like teacher said. After some 3 days, Makina came back to class after memorizing by heart every second year textbook. But that wasn't the end of it. She externally passed to the next grade, raining information about authority and the homeroom's teacher's common sense finally stopped at 6 year subjects. Why? Because junior students couldn't get further graded textbooks. The teacher made two mistakes. He gave Makina a goal. He told her that studying is memorizing. It was probably fortunate that around her were second graders. They didn't understand what math mess was Makina making. A girl that can study everything in one day. That's it. Really fortunate. A year later, she will be compared to me. For a year, the teacher was doing his best trying to make Makina a student. Sometimes he could not bear it any longer and was forced to come to us. Your daughter is an incredible talented student. Our school is no place for her. I would recommend her to a more advanced facility and so on. If we transfer her, he'll write a recommendation, but the school won't bother looking for the more advanced facility. And it became clear that at school everyone also understood how strange Makina is. It would be fine with a simple talented student, but transferring someone lacking in the sense of humanity itself will make it their responsibility. The transfer has to be done by his or his family's will alone, but Dad was always responding with this line. Different school means constant trips somewhere far. We don't have money for that. Our Makina is fine where she is now. And so the lion Makina kept visiting the little kitten society. Yeah, surely after that experience with my sister, of course he picked me out. By the way, after that, the teacher heard a rumor about me getting alienated from my class. He left school right away. He was a good guy. He was coming to work on a cool car, but by the end, he was riding some miserable junk. Students were laughing at him, and he shot himself in his own world. After that, I remember my dad saw a newspaper, made an awkward face, and mumbled something about suicide and rope. Upperclassmen were saying as a matter of course, because Makina took a dislike to him. And though I don't want to think about it, someone of Makina's henchmen irresponsibly threw in something that you have to get rid of your enemies. After that case, I understood why my mother was saying what she was saying back then. Humans without some base knowledge of some areas will know what's happening in it. A great innovative engine won't impress ones that see cars simply as movement devices. To understand Makina's actions, you will need at least a tiny bit of her intelligence. You can laugh at my bragging now, but I got to be the best in my class now too, and I understood that I'm above average level. Yeah, I had the best grades until the first year of high school. I was quite talented, but I didn't have the time to feel my superiority. Fortunate or unfortunate, I didn't get to. So to say I felt like an imp living next to Satan. If I'm not careful, my self-confidence and everything else along will be crushed. That's all from my younger years, and that's how Hisaori Makina was. Makina was as amazing as adults. Whatever she was set to do. Okay, Makina was amazing to adults. Whatever she was set to do. God's child, genius. There was no one in Nosu that didn't know her. But if you look closer, she's doing everything without putting any effort. But still, she comes far further than anyone. So normal people decide to ignore it. You mustn't look at the sun directly. Sis, you're not seriously trying hard, right? Nope, or else I'll become completely alone. The day before vacation, I sent a question to the direction of the second story of the bed and got my answer. Weird answer. Makina doesn't understand herself. What's that? I'll become completely alone. She's been completely alone for a while now. She just didn't notice it. With every passing moment of Makina's school year, parents were harder and harder to look at. Her. With every passing Makina's school year, it was harder and harder for the parents to look at her. Even I understood that. They are praising her in words, but their faces say, "We don't need you, you are just a bother." That isn't strange. Makina succeeds in one thing, but makes others lose many other things. Money, for example. Makina gets the highest grade in Shikura, but she consumed a whole family's budget. If she starts learning, she requires endless amount of material. She's buying books here and there, memorizes and burns the ones she reads for some reason. Budget is literally vaporizing because of her, like a poor man riding limousine. She was both parents' pride and the cause of the beggarly life, with no money. But at the same time, Makina was an unrivaled role model student, so the parents couldn't scold her. While treating her like a painful corn, they desperately played love with their daughter. How heinous. Both parents humiliating themselves before a fifth grader, and the sister who believed their tormented smiles. She really doesn't understand anything concerning herself. There was no point she couldn't do, neither at home nor at school. You say a school's role is to teach how to teach oneself. The mother's role is to do housework, and the father's role is to get money. She didn't need any of them anymore. I think she did everything herself. It was different when she was a child. Any talented child is still bound by convenience of society. We were calming ourselves than saying to ourselves that she's a child. But still, we were afraid of the fact that she's less and less of a child every year. She was unrival, but she didn't have any allies. And still, Makina was a great older sister. No matter how much I tried, I couldn't catch up with her. No matter how hard I studied, my good grades faded in comparison. It was an amazing barrier, like a complex cancer case, always reigniting in my mind. Not even once I thought of my sister as a human. She's like a god. She's inspiring amazement with her perfection and thrill with her power. Gods are something like this, right? But one summer when Makina was in 5th grade, my goddess suddenly went crazy. Dad, look, a ghost. In the white of day, Makina calls Dad. Tired, Dad doesn't react to her call. Me and Mother don't hurry to her side either, because the whole family is tired of Makina by now. Burning, burning, black like ash, black like ash. Makina's interested voice at the balcony is calm. Maybe she's just joking, maybe it's just her imagination. Her tone of voice tells that it's not necessarily to run to her side, a girlish cute voice. Oh, and by the way, Makina only talked in this voice at that one time. Sometimes I get tormented by a thought. What if that was a desperate scream? The first time Makina ever asked her family for help. Because if Dad pulled her back from the balcony, then saved her. My sister always went the wrong path, but never misstep. And here, Makina was on the balcony until sunset. Then Mother took her back to her room. The next day during breakfast, Makina's usual smiled to Mom and Dad. So their awkward fake smiles in return and yelped a little. Here. Unwillingly I smiled too. It's funny. She can do anything, but she only just noticed that. And so Makina became a comedy hero. Realizing everyone's hate for her, she started trying so hard like it was a matter of life and death. She tried to return to the former world, the world she saw before, doing everything in her usual way, showing off her genius. She was throwing herself on everyone. Come on, be friends with me. It was already getting extreme and becoming a tragedy. She comes in to play with you when you are alone, with no previous arrangements, gives you what she likes herself, forcefully finds and solves your problems. She'll also tell you about your faults and characteristics, all in details. Her acquaintances were more and more afraid of her, but Makina didn't mind that and kept on dashing at a breakneck pace. She wanted to show herself a nice girl before her neighbors. She was sucking up not just to her fellows, but to their parents as well. Makina kept on doing that in the scale of a whole school, a whole street block. Once decided she didn't know any other ways, and she was getting the opposite result, like a dancing doll with head on fire. If you wanted to make friends, you shouldn't have been so forceful. You were accepting complaints at a regular basis, like eating rice or drinking tea. Do something with your girl, please. She's weird. Every time Makina heard those complaints, though, her mother, she became more and more desperate. As usual, she brought her method to a dead point. I had enough. Are you loony? Stop fooling in front of adults. Mother broke. Yeah, it was her who kept getting into the hurricanes Makina created, and then, Daddy, Makina clung to that. That was even more disappointed in her than Mom. Makina, stay at home now. A bad girl like you shouldn't do anything. My sister was no longer called Makina. Fake smiles erased from her parents' face. It was to say the only thing Makina succeeded in doing with her way. That stopped bringing her daughter to the administration house. Mother, who didn't look at me before, started being happy with her son's usual success, and only my name was leaving her mouth. Even at school, Makina was treated like an empty spot. She was ignored, like she was invisible. Could happen to me too, but I made a victim out of myself and avoided that fate. That's sad truth. I was always blinded by Makina's shine. Do I even have to be on her side now? And everyone thought the same, probably. Let her be like that, a child. 4 years since Makina got in middle school were the best years of my life. She was moved to a different room, that was used before as a storage room, and the big room where we lived together before was just mine now. Around the same time, Makina became lifeless, kept looking down at the floor, was quiet like a ghost. When Mom or Dad tried talking to her, she yelled. Sometimes she looks in my direction with a lonely look, but I answer that with a fixed stare, and she fled to her room right away. Makina's life collapsed. Everything around her was scary. She came to a dead end which she couldn't get out from alone. Oh, isn't there anything to do with Makina, Shinja? Can you save her? You are her brother after all. I don't feel like it. Mom, don't push it on me when you are lazy to do so yourself. Alright, about food, maybe she should eat alone in her room. That will be happy. And coming to call her for dinner every day is bothersome. Makina would gloomily sit in a corner of her room like a ghost. It isn't right, but who cares? Makina forgot how to do anything, and the former wonder kid became the shame of the Hisaori family. Of course, I had to deal with it too. Getting to the same middle school, I was studying as hard as I could because of that. Powerless Makina was compared to me, and even at school, they didn't leave her alone. Kina fled to my classroom a lot of the times, but I fixed my stare at her, and she ran away again. Everyone kept their distance from her at school and at other places, but I didn't really keep watch of it. I didn't really have to know of those places anyway. I didn't solve her problem and I didn't tell her parents about it. And so Makina was ostracized from society. Oh, finally, I managed to look down at the beast. Yes, I was always afraid, just as I was in awe. In the depths of my soul, I wished for her to be gone. Couldn't do anything about it. In high school, Makina kept skipping classes from the first semester and stopped going there at all before summer vacation. Closed in a dark room, she only showed up for dinner. The last stage. Makina, day after day of losing her abilities, couldn't even talk normally anymore. Like a newborn child, she could only forget how to breathe like that. So it happens that Mom was taking care of her. She even talked to Father about placing her in an orphanage. Of course, Father's answer was the same as it always was. We don't have money for that. Deal with it yourself. I had exams to do, Mother was losing the last drops of her love for Makina, who became a topic for local rumors. Makina's care was getting close to the bottom line. Mother kept on saying, as if trying to convince herself, that his Saori family has one child, Shinja, keep on taking care of me. For half a year until I graduated, Makina was left alone for herself in her dark room, and I foolishly let that relax me. Of course, the graduation ceremony was partly at fault, but I was naive myself, and once I thought that was a goddess, even though it was a stretch. How could I think that Makina won't say anything again? How could I think I'm at her level? And so, Shinja, your teacher decided to move you two to the same class. What? Makina shuddered. Before the holy table for the first time in 6 years, Mother put her fake smile on. Why is that so? What are you talking about? Does does your sister still want to attend school? Makina, who didn't go to school for a whole year, probably couldn't pass to the next grade. Mother, who talked of her as a bother but still prizing the parental duty, thought that she wants her daughter to graduate from school, so she signed her up for a second year. What's so bad in that? With you, Shinja, even she could go to school. So said the father, who didn't understand anything, but tried to make it look like he did. Putting an older sister on a second year with her younger brother? What nonsense. Father. Father and the teachers alike, are they idiots or what? It's not the way to deal with this now. What the hell? Not funny. I'm not going to nurse her. Fire refused that straight instead of saying anything about nursing. No, not like that. If at that moment Makina didn't drop her spoon, everything would be alright. Well, things are definitely pretty bad for Makina, but I think I have a feeling with where this is going, especially with all this talk about memorization and imitation. Pick it up, Makina. You dropped it. What? Don't be silent. We are not clairvoyant. Or you don't hear me? You dropped a spoon? Mother says pick it up yourself. Listening to Mother's order, Makina slowly picked up the spoon. Dad pretended not to look. Makina lonely looks at Mother with a spoon in her hand. Mommy, feed me. Bang. The atmosphere at the table breaks. Makina can't even eat by herself. Mother angrily hits the table. Eat. Enough, you are so spoiled. Can't even eat yourself? Are you stupid? When did you become such a klutz? You have a fine example before you. If you can't do anything, you should just watch it Shinja and learn. Oh man, you seriously just cursed Shinja here. Oh boy. Yeah, you know, Mother. That was the one line that should never been said. Makina's eyes shine like lenses. Mother, can I do something myself? Of course, you are not a child, so if you don't understand something, copy Shinja. You won't bother anyone that way, and that's enough. Don't give her a go. Don't teach her the methods. This mechanism must not be restarted. Ah, I see. I'll do it. I'll do so. After that, the Hisaori's family's history turns around to be a real mess. Well, and me? Whatever I did, nothing all worked out well. In high school, me and Makina started learning in the same class together. To be honest, I thought it couldn't get worse. Older sister repeating grade because of low attendance. This crest doesn't suit me. Father's poverty brought me misfortune here too. He didn't want to pay for our education, so he only let us take exams in a local high school. Makina will surely drag me down. She can't even eat alone. Who will like such a girl? No one. The weak are deprived of human rights in school. Pride, physique, difference in grades, and looking like it's a matter, of course, to blame you for all of her sins. Makina has it all. If she'll get bullied, no one will save her, because it's meaningless to save her. You save her and he's thoroughly rotten, and in the end you only get more problems. If it wasn't for relatives, I don't think anyone could be kind to her. But high school life, which began with a headache about ostracism, appeared in fact beautiful. For the first month, Makina spared me her presence in classroom. In this local high school, her many acquaintances and teachers remember me from the good side. So I became a central figure of the class, found friends and trust. Sometimes a topic about my absent sister was raised, but I'm already used to avoiding that talk. Graduating from middle school to high school, Isaori Shinja made yet another great step. But there was one thing that bothered me. Makina stopped leaving her room. Every time I felt a stare and turned around, Makima was always looking at me. There wasn't a day when our gazes didn't meet. I got irritated by that and stared at her in return. Before, she always fled, but now, bearing the unfriendly stare, she kept closely watching me. Without blinking like a camera, she kept looking at Hisaori Shinja. In May, I realized that I'm uncomfortable with that. One evening, Dad was in an unusually good mood, was talking to Makina about all sorts of stuff. Sometimes about successful work, thanks to Makina, something else. Not funny. I remember how we were sitting behind the same table, when we were still kids. So Makina, I brought you a cage, but you don't want a bird? No, I have a cage. Why will I need what's inside? That was happily smiling. Makina asked to buy something. It's a rarity. Dad agreed to buy it. It's a rarity too. I kept watching this scene from the side, alienated, and after those words, I finally got it. Dad called Makina by her name, and Makina, without saying a word, is casually smiling in return. Relationships within Makina and Dad got strangely better. One Sunday, when I came back after club activities, Dad and Makina were playing ball outside. They often went shopping, and after a bath, they were watching TV together. Thanks, Shinja. Now Makina cheered up. Mother was looking at them with a long forgotten expression. I didn't do anything, but Makina cheered up because of me, she says. For some reason, I became disgusted. You know, Makina, I actually wanted a son like you. And he happily patted Makina's head. I swear, Makina is not a boy. So disgusting, so nauseating. Of course it is. How could a completely isolated person become so normal again in just 1 month? How could a daughter, hated so much by her parents, get along with them so fast? I didn't understand what's the and I didn't understand what was the most disgusting part of it at first. And so in June, Makina came to school like nothing happened. From that time, I started having nightmares. I opened my eyes from an indescribable feeling of occlusion. Happens at midnight. Lights are off. I throw a look at the door. It's open a little. Surely something is watching. Behind the door, darkness is much deeper than in the room uncovered, inter- with interrupted breath. In that gap, a pupil like a camera, a creature made of eyes alone. From the outside, all of us with Makina looked like a friendly family. Makina was a bit by bit getting along with her classmates, making friends, cleaning her tainted name. The schoolgirl that wasn't coming to class is a weakling that is to is a weakling that is to blame. But the schoolgirl trying to come to class again is a weakling that is to be defended. If I ignore such a righteous sister, I'll become the one to blame. As a good brother, I could only silently watch over Makina's rehabilitation, even if I was completely disgusted with it. Makina peacefully, smoothly was becoming part of the class, completely unlike her. Such an honestly average behavior was coming from Makina, I didn't know. Felt like spitting. A monster like that can get along with those people. With such an obvious forced smile, you can get popular. It's too fake. So a newcomer can get other people's trust. It will be too shallow. The world that I supported can be so simple. What, she's easy to talk to? He's our son. Even though she's a girl, she's like a guy. And again, she's nice to talk to. Makina is really like you. Really? Isn't it the opposite? More like Shinja-kun is like Makina-san. That's what my middle school friends are saying. Like Hisaori Shinja has two bodies. If you can do anything, you should just watch Shinja and learn. Yes, I knew that without saying. There was another me in the class. From the everyday habits to learning and grades, from the manner of speaking, supporting the partner, then returning to yourself, the general topics and personal likings that are scary to others. All of that was mine. Really, I feel like spitting. Stop that. Her new life completely changed in 2 months. From day to day, Makina's imitation kept focusing, from learning to detailing copying, from retelling to complete playback. She kept diligently imitating Hisaori Shinja. What for? I don't know. Her head's working multitude times better than mine. Hmm, I wonder if they are really that similar. I don't think she's Saori got along with his dad like at all. Even if she just decided to act like me, for whatever reason in the end, a perfect better personality will appear. She just concentrated on imitating. Something was seriously wrong with her. Copying your idol's taste is fine. Sometimes you get inspired by someone, you feel like becoming just like that person. But for Makina, I'm just a person that happened to be close at the moment, like a random passerby. Can you psychologically copy the actions of someone like that? No interest, no respect. It can be a goal. It is not worth the effort and time. Is that really a possible for a living being? Even a monster should have its own motives, its own will. But all I could do was swallow in my discontent. Makina became a positive and and became positive and reasonable, sane, a role model student, and I, even though knowing how heinous she is, could only just keep on playing friendly relative with her. Completely useless effort. Even without it, the balance kept on shifting every day, and the year repeating. Loser was becoming a spotlight in class, just like me. She became a leader among girls, and I was a leader among guys. It probably looked like we are a happy family. At home, though, there was only one spotlight. In just 2 months, the Hisaori family completely restructured. The parents looking at Shinja and started to see the happiness in Makina's face. With every coming day, I feel it's becoming harder and harder to live there. Say, Shinja, can you give your room to your sister? Man, these parents really suck. Not funny, I want that room. Makina, after running away to the storage room, can just simply return there. Makina, are you free next weekend? Dad wants to go to one place. Enviable, honestly. He was wearing a fake smile, the fake smile mask before, and now he's shamelessly spoiling her. I got enough of that family lunch. I get up to come back to my room. Wait, Shinja, relax your right shoulder before sleeping, or your neck will get stiff at morning. Is that so? Bathing in my parents' care, Makina tells me about Hisaori Shinja's mine, mine, my body feature that I myself didn't know about. Feel like I hear shutter sounds in her lifeless eyes. Without a response, I averted my eyes and rushed to my room, probably because I lost my peace of mind from Makina's dominance. My room, which I was carefully cleaning, was becoming dirtier and dirtier. Today, too, I ignored it and fell onto bed. Next morning, I woke up with a stiff neck because I ignored Makina's warning. Well, of course. Good morning, Makina. Oh, is your neck stiff? Are you all right? During breakfast is a period that predicting even my ignorance. Makina woke up with a stiff neck. Okay. Things are escalating and fast. Excessive imitation is but an aggression to the original. Starting from the second semester, Hisaori Shinja's chair almost managed to drop me down. One day, my friend declined my offer to go for a walk. He said he got some urgent business to deal with, no time to play. He rarely rejected my offers, but why not? It can happen to anyone. I didn't give it much thought and walked downtown for shopping, where I accidentally saw Makina. What the hell? Next to whom? Next to the faces of my friends who rejected my invitation were shining with smiles. I don't want to remember what I felt back then. They were the ones who broke the promise. I'm right, but I'm a victim in all possible ways. I rushed home right away, just because if they noticed me, I'd feel ashamed. Hi, Shinja. I just accidentally meet Makina there. Stop it. Excuses like that make it even worse. If you say those excuses, it will only add to the cold. But think a little. Come on. Okay, okay. Shinja wants. Do you want to come with us? Don't even want to think about it. It will be me that will be like an avoid the, that they will want to avoid. But putting his nose everywhere. By putting his nose everywhere. What a loser with no friends. Ah. Flew into the room, shut the door, and screamed. I feel like doing it. Feel like letting all that anger out on that meaningless cleanliness mess to mess it all up. When my self-esteem didn't let me do it. Okay, the translation is at hard mode at the moment. Stop, stop, stop. No need to look for compensation. I didn't lose anything. No, nothing. I will only trip on my own foot and roll down. No, now it's best to just calm down. But I can't seem to do it. Looks like I got asthma now. Head starts aching. I almost fell from dizziness when click. The closet door opened. Sister. Makina enters. I retreat to the bed. Kino stands motionless in the messed up room. What do you want? Don't enter others' rooms without permission. Yup, I just saw you. You ran away all of a sudden. Something happened. The asthma disappeared. The dizziness was gone. Instead of that, feel my brain being set on fire, and I almost got smoke coming out of my ears. What? How serious are you anyway? I mumble. This is bad. My throat burns. This is bad. I understand what you're trying to say, but questioning me so much is unreasonable. Said that already a long time ago. This monstrous creature, as soon as you know its true face, starts attacking people. Serious about what? Did I do something to you? Shinja. And you kept doing it openly. What was that? Why were you with Saito and the others, sis? You are a girl. Why don't you just have fun with girls? Why do you have to steal my friends? But this can't be stopped. Irritated and probably scared, I can stop my words. So that's it, she says. She closes her eyes and then Makina. But Saito can't call me himself. He says Shinja is boring. He's not even special anymore. He said if he is to choose between me and him, I'm more interested. I awkwardly chuckle, like she's pitying me. Everything went white. My right fist is on fire. Makina didn't even yelp. She just limply fell on her butt. Huh? Human reasoning is crumbling. It's unpleasant. For the first time, I used brute force. And it was so abhorrent, I feel like rolling time back. Makina turned away and rubbed a newborn bruise on her right cheek. She got quiet because she's surprised with her little brother hitting her. No, it can't be. Is smiling? You are disgusting. Makina is the weak one. I'm the one swinging fists, but my legs are shaking. and Makina's shoulders are quivering. What are you laughing at? Shut up. What's so funny? You are crazy. I get scared like before. Nothing's funny. Never before I thought of anything as fun. Slowly she raises her gaze. The monster with shining camera eyes. That's why I couldn't do anything as myself. But yes, I tried to take your place, Shinja, and it seems to be entertaining. For the first time on my memory, she really laughed in joy. The question that was tormenting me from my very childhood got an answer. What was so disgusting in her? It's so simple. Makina cried. She got angry. But she never once rejoiced. Fun? But why? Scared I could only ask this. If I started to beg her to stop this, maybe she would have done so. Too late. Well, it's funnier for everyone this way. You can disappear, Shinja. I'll be Shinja instead. Because you see, I'm better at being Shinja than you. She can't be stopped anymore. I looked at my right fist, red in Makina's blood. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. You're not the one everyone loves. You're not the one for whom everything goes well. Don't copy me. Don't move. What the hell? What the hell? You. You can do nothing but copy me. A hit sounded in the room. Makina hits the wall. She falls down. The books drop on her head, slightly bleeding. A bit to the right and her eyes will be in damage. For how long that destruction was continuing, I only remember how Mother came back and bandaged Makina. Wounds on her face were minor, so she was alright. But there was no longer a place for me in the house. That scolded me. Makina stood up for me. Mother got touched by sister's kindness. I duly looked at her fallen shelf, sighed. It was the one we built together as siblings in our childhood. My favorite shelf. Tendency got even stronger. What came after that is obvious. Parents were charmed with Makina. I lost more friends. I was becoming more and more scared of being cornered, and I desperately fought to avoid that. But nothing worked out well for me. Because Makina could do my actions better than me. Too good. Stopped understanding how I became successful before, and in the end I was forced to learn from Makina. She was supposedly the one copying me, but now it's me who tries to catch up. I'm learning from her how to be Hisaori Shinja, the Hisaori Shinja she's imagining. I don't even understand what was I like originally. The end came abruptly. The class I still had a place in, I was dropped myself. Because of a trivial matter. One morning I came into classroom. Makina was giving out printouts. It's my responsibility as the class representative, not yours, I said, and raising my hands at Makina just like at home. Why are you doing this? I said. The exact same phrase came back to me from everyone else. The next day when I entered the classroom, my desk was thrown away. Who was the first one to drop from school? Well, it doesn't matter. From the second semester, I stopped coming to school and was sitting in my room. Everything was a mess there, like in the dirty rooms scheduled for demolition. My mother came in from time to time, worried, and Dad only came in once in the end. Makina, I think she was always in my room. I remember how Makina was before, and just like her, I was bearing the torture of time, looking at nothing, thinking of nothing. I think Makina was living just like that. So his aura Shinja is deprived of any qualities of value. It's meaningless to copy him, leave him alone. Can do anything, and I'm a good for nothing now. Oh, but when my parents were asleep, when I was in the kitchen or when I was walking the hallway to the toilet and turning around, Makina was silently standing there, watching me, clicking with her shoulders. Those eyes kept watching me. Not a person but trash. And a mechanical voice said, "Hey, are you not going to do anything new?" I screamed and ran away to my room, closed my door, got under the blanket. The lights is long broken. Closed my windows, the shutters, and isolated myself. In my room is darkness. Only light from under the door gets in. But she can see right through me. Even if I lock myself in the room, she watches my every move. Yes, it was always like that. Why didn't I notice it before? Fleeing to my room was the mistake. It's a cage. Every day I was under her watch. Ha! How? There's nothing this monster can do. If I open shutters now, there's a huge eye looking inside my room. No, no, don't stop. When Makina was copying me, it was fine. But then I have nothing left to show her. My usefulness is gone. Makina always burns the books after reading them. So now, even when I hide so she stops seeing through me, you can do it like that, Shinja. And if you manage to cut your wrist like that, it will only hurt. To do it properly, you will need at least that hard knife you stole yesterday. Someone help! Feels like this room is inside her eyeball. Okay, we will be leaving it here for now. Well, I think we are about to see the tragedy unfold next time. Thank you very much for watching here in Crimson Moon. Feel free to like and subscribe if you want. But for now, that will be all. Have a good day and take care.